Hello, everyone. Let's wait and see. Looks like our participant numbers are growing a little bit. This is exciting. Thanks for joining, everyone. I think we're actually at our full capacity right now, which is exciting. So way to be here on time and ready to go. My name is Natalie. I work for Mighty Cause, which is the technology platform behind Great Give Day. Really excited to go through this webinar with you all today. We do have a bit of a smaller group, so I'm really, here to be able to answer any questions that you do have. I want to make sure that I don't move too quickly or brush through things that might come up as questions. So a few housekeeping items I know that we're all pretty familiar at this point with using Zoom and with webinars. So I just wanted to note that everybody is on mute. It just kind of helps keep the volume controlled so that no accidental kind of noise comes through. But I did want to note that we have the question and answer feature. If you have any questions, it'd be super helpful for you to send them through there because it pops up with a notification and I'll be able to see that as I go through the webinar. And then we also have the chat feature too, if there's anything that you want to chat about kind of amongst yourselves. So kind of for today, I just wanted to start with our plan. So I'm going to be on screen for like the next couple slides, but at some point I am going to turn off my camera just because I have a big setup over here with a lot of screens happening, and I want to make sure that I'm able to monitor question and answers, show you the things that I need to, and that means I'll be looking over here and you don't have to see my side profile the whole time. But yeah, so let's go ahead and kind of get started for today. Obviously, our webinar today is getting started. So we're going to go over, we'll skip over here to kind of talking about the concept of what is a giving event, what does it mean to you as a nonprofit to participate in a giving event, go over some of these specific basics for Great Give Day, and then we're going to walk through live. I'm going to pull up kind of a live example of the site, go through the registration process, show you how to customize your profile for the giving event and kind of do some more live things because I think that's ultimately a little bit more beneficial than just showing you some screenshots. I do want to also flag that this is being recorded right now. The plan is that I will have the recording up on the webinar kind of training page for a Great Give Day by end of day on Monday. I was just telling Peter, I was chatting with him before we went live. YouTube sometimes takes a little bit longer to process and upload things. So if I get it in there by the end of the day today, that's great, but probably most likely it'll be end of day on Monday. But the slides themselves from our training today, I will have added to the toolkit by end of day today. So if you want to get a jump start on things, you can access the slides today, training on Monday. Yeah, so I think what I also wanted to say really quickly is that I am joined with my silent partner, which is fantastic. I have Peter from the Community Foundation that is here today. I'm going to be presenting the majority of the content, but he is here kind of just listening in. And that way, if you do have any questions that are a bit more specific to the giving event on the Community Foundation side, he can jump in and be able to help answer some of that as well. So I think without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. And then again, just a general reminder, use that question and answer feature if anything does come up that you want to spend a little bit more time on. I will try to actively monitor that as I go through the presentation, but if I happen to miss anything, Peter, feel free to flag it, or we'll definitely have plenty of time at the end of our webinar today to be able to address them as well. So I think I'm going to go off screen really quick so that I can look over here at my setup, but I am still here with you. So yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. All right, so here we go. In theory, there we go. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about what is a giving day, how does it work? So a giving event is a time-based fundraising campaign that brings together communities, nonprofits, and donors. As a participating nonprofit, this is a really great opportunity for you to engage your supporters, your community partners. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, being able to kind of turn your long-term and existing supporters into peer-to-peer fundraisers, which allows you to really amplify your success and your outreach for the giving event. And then again, a really great way for you to spread the word about your organization's mission. So specifically, let's talk about Great Give Day. That's why we're all here, right? So Great Give Day is a 24-hour online giving event organized annually by the Community Foundation of Greater Dubuque to grow philanthropy in its 7-county region. This year's Great Give Day takes place on Wednesday, May 15th. You will see the early giving opens on Monday, May 13th. And so we open early giving just a little bit early in advance for those really eager donors that know that they have the best of intentions, but they might forget. So it just kind of gives a bit of a wiggle room for folks that have gotten excited and land on the page a little bit early. So if you do see some activity coming through your page on the 13th or 14th, don't be alarmed. That is allowed, but we are really pushing the bulk of the giving event on Wednesday, May 15th. In order to participate in Great Give Day, your organization must be a 501c3, and you must hold an endowed fund at the Community Foundation of Greater Dubuque or one of its affiliate foundations. And then registration is required to participate in the giving event. Registration will be something that we're going to walk through here today, so that if you haven't registered already, we'll walk through how to be able to do that. And then again, how to really start setting up your page so that you can make sure that you're in the best place to be successful for the upcoming campaign. So now that we've covered the specifics of Great Give Day, we're going to move on a bit to talk about your responsibilities as a participating nonprofit. So first, you'll need to start by registering for the giving event. And again, I've said this, but we're going to walk through this process a bit more in depth in some of the following slides. You'll also want to dedicate some time for creating and customizing your organization's profile for Great Give Day. You can use the helpful resources included in the nonprofit toolkit to start planning your fundraising campaign. This toolkit includes engaging social media images as well as tips and tricks for promoting your campaign across different platforms. So that nonprofit toolkit that we're talking about right now, and we'll touch on a little bit again later, it would have been linked out if you have registered already. It would have been linked out in some of those registration communications you've received, but also earlier today, I wanted to flag that it's been added to the Great Give website as well. So you'll see that here on the top kind of navigation bar and also here in that middle navigation bar too. So that's how you'll be able to access these resources, some of these templates, and also some really engaging, awesome social media images that you can use. That way you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just kind of make some of this templated material work for you. So first things first, if you haven't done so already, you'll want to register your organization for Great Give Day. To register, we actually do have a question. So let's see, are our profile and info from last year transferred to this year? Thinking of logo, etc. That is a really great question. And the answer is yes. So if you have participated in the past, and in about 2 slides, we'll actually be able to show you what that looks like. But if you have participated in a previous year of Great Give Day hosted on Mighty Cause, when you register again, all of the content that you would have put together for your page last year will automatically be there for this year. So you'll just be able to make some quick edits. You don't have to start from scratch. But yeah, so I guess probably most of you on here have registered. For those of you who haven't, we'll talk through that right now. So you'll start by going to the Great Give Day website. And then you'll start by clicking the register button on that main homepage. From there, you're going to be prompted to log in or sign up. If you are a returning nonprofit, you will be able to log in and select your organization to continue the registration process. If you are a new nonprofit for Great Give Day, you will be required to claim your organization on Mighty Cause if this is your first time visiting the site. Once you've done that, you'll unlock the registration questions and you can submit the registration form. So I did want to note that when you submit your registration form, an automated confirmation email will be sent to you. This email signifies that your registration process was successful, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you've been approved to participate in the giving event. Those are 2 separate things. So email 1 is signifying to you that your registration went through. Great job, you submitted the form. You will receive a follow-up email. I think Peter's been doing it fairly quickly, but you'll receive a follow-up email letting you know when your organization is actually officially cleared to be able to register to participate and you are approved by the Community Foundation. If you do have any questions as you go through the registration process, you can always email us at support@mightycause.com. Our team is here to be able to help you however we can. And I did want to note, yes, we have our deadline to register being April 16th. So I kind of want to skip over, again, I think that the best kind of learning tool for today, especially for those of you who might be new to the platform, is really going through and seeing live what the site looks like, how you're going to interact with it. So we're going to skip over to that. But I did want to note, for purposes of our demo today, I'm going to be utilizing kind of a templated nonprofit page that we built in our demo environment. Because this is a page built for demos, you might see some features and functionality on here that you won't see on your own organization dashboard. That's because this particular profile itself really has to have everything unlocked. We do have nonprofits that utilize our platform for kind of year-round fundraising, and they pay for subscriptions, which gives them access to tools that really promote year-round fundraising versus really kind of that time-based giving event fundraising. So I just wanted to flag that in case you are in this webinar today or you're viewing it in the future. You might see a couple of things on here that are not going to translate to what you're seeing on your own individual dashboard. But first, I just kind of wanted to start on the Great Give Day site. We had talked about really your first step as a nonprofit is you want to make sure that you register. Here we see this big old registration button. So when I click on register, it takes me here to be able to start the registration process. I'm probably not going to continue on through here just because I am not a nonprofit admin, and so it's not going to let me get very far, but you will first be prompted to actually log in. So for those of you who have participated in Great Give Day before, you'll be able to just log yourself in. For those of you who are brand new, you can start by putting in your email, and it'll prompt you to create a password, and it'll generate a user account for you to be able to go through the process. And then we can go back here really quickly and just look at this slide just to see what that would look like. So if I did log myself in, then the next screen that I would see here is the registration form where I'd be able to search for my organization. And then, like I said, for those of you who have participated with your organization in the past, you would see this screen, but you'd also see a list below it that shows the nonprofits that you are currently an administrator for. So you would just be able to easily click on your nonprofit and then move through the registration process. But so moving forward in our demo, this is assuming, right, we have gone through the registration process, submitted it successfully, and then I wanted to kind of walk you through what is your organization dashboard, what can you do here, how do we really customize our page itself for the giving event. So once you submitted your registration form, you'll be redirected to your nonprofit profile home screen, which we can see here. You'll notice a navigation bar on the left side of the screen that allows you to access various components of your organization's profile, as well as helpful tools and analytics to support you during Great Give Day. This navigation bar will only appear if you're logged in and on your nonprofit's profile page. And then the first thing that I really wanted to flag here, which you can see at the top of the screen, is your to-do list. So once you've filled out and submitted your registration form, you'll need to complete the items on your to-do list. This list is located right here on the top of the overview page on your nonprofit dashboard. There are a few basic items that you are being prompted to complete in order to have what we consider to be a completed kind of customized profile for the giving event. First, you'll need to add a background image to your page or use one from our gallery of stock background images. Second, you'll need to upload your logo, which will represent you throughout Great Give Day. Third, you'll need to add a story, also called a description, that tells visitors to your profile about your nonprofit organization. And then fourth, you'll want to build a thank you page to thank donors after they've made a successful donation. The really great thing about this to-do list that we have here is if you click on the links in the to-do list, it'll take you right to the spot on your organization dashboard where you'll be able to customize that content. And of course, as I'm going to plug throughout today, is that if you have any questions when it comes to your to-do list, or you can't locate something, or you think you've completed it, but it's showing as not complete, you can always reach out to our support team via email at support@mightycause.com, and we'll be able to walk you through those next steps. So I want to pause for just 1 second. I do see a question that came through, and I think it was when we were just talking about kind of logging in and getting ready to participate. We did have someone write in and say their password from last year does not work. There is an option there to be able to say that you forgot your password. So I would suggest doing that, and then it'll send you the ability to be able to reset your password, or you can always write into our team via email at support@mightycause.com, and they'll be able to help reset that password for you. Okay, so kind of moving along in our organization dashboard here. So our first real step is if we click here on our organization page, we can see what our organization page would look like for Great Give Day. So obviously this is our demo site. We're pretending here to be the Animal Humane Society that's taking part in a giving event, which is why you see some of these colors here. But this will look very similar to what your organization page will look like. I do first want to start by drawing attention to the fact that, we do have this on-screen editing capabilities, which makes it really nice for you to be able to see, immediately what changes you're making. So as you kind of scroll around, and I guess the first thing to note here at the top is you see this little toggle for edit mode. If I turn that off, I see this page and I don't see any ability to edit. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, I'm on my page, but I can't edit anything, it's not letting me click, most likely just scroll up, turn back edit mode, and then you'll be able to start making some adjustments. So I guess the first thing is, this is what we call your organization profile. So your profile is the face of your nonprofit for Great Give Day, and you want to make sure it matches your nonprofit branding and includes a clear message about your fundraising objectives for the giving event. And as I said, you'll notice that we have these easy to use on-screen editing capabilities, which really allows you to make immediate changes to your page and see those in real time. I will note, because this is kind of a common question that comes up, is there a time at which we can't make edits anymore? No. So you could potentially, if you had to, go onto your profile live on the giving event day and make a quick update if you needed to. Of course, we're always going to recommend that you set apart some time to be able to really finalize this well in advance of Great Give Day. That way it's just one extra thing to take off your to-do list, and you're not scrambling on the day of the giving event trying to get this customized. But if for some reason something needs to change on your profile on the day of, all of this functionality still exists, and you would be able to go in and make a quick edit if you needed to. So we're going to walk through kind of what these parts of your organization page are, some tips and best practices. So we'll start with the ability to edit your theme and then your images. So the first step towards really branding your profile is to upload your organization's logo. You can use this pencil icon right here to open up this section for editing. You have the ability to upload the image, or you can also hide the white backdrop. But if we clicked upload image, it allows me to select, do I want something to upload from my local file? Do I want to take a picture? Do I want to pull an image from somewhere? Once I do upload my image, I have the ability to decide what part of the image. So you'll notice that it is a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. I'll note this is the same aspect ratio as a lot of social media platforms. So if you do have a presence on Facebook or Twitter, you should most likely be able to just pull that exact same logo and put it here, because it should all be the same size. So again, uploaded an image, decided how I wanted to center it, click done, and then I have my logo here. Next is this background image area. So your background image will look best if it's mostly text-free. As you can see here in this example, your logo is going to overlay on top of that background image. So you just want to be aware of that when you're selecting your background image. We've had organizations in the past who have a really engaging photo of multiple people's faces, and inevitably whoever's here gets cut off. So you just kind of want to be aware of the fact that this will, and there is no way to change it, this will overlap with it. So you just want to make sure that when you upload your image, it's not really clashing or hiding something that you want to be visible to your donors. And I will note too that if you don't have we click here. So if you don't have an engaging image that your nonprofit has available to you, you can actually click down here where you see this little gallery option, and it allows you to pick from a gallery of like templated background images that we have available as well. And then last but not least, kind of in this top section here is the ability to set your theme color. So as you can see, if I was truly part of the Animal Humane Society, I kind of have this teal color to my logo. And maybe I want my buttons and some of these other areas that will inherently pull in that theme color. I can set here what my theme color should be. So you're welcome to do that if you do have kind of set branding that you want to have as your theme color. You can use this kind of drag and drop ability, or if you have that exact hex code, you can always paste that in there as well. So moving kind of down on the site, the next area I want to talk about here is what we would call your page metrics. So this is where you have the opportunity to determine what stats should be displayed on your profile page. You can choose from donor count, dollar count, or both. So if I go ahead and I click edit here, again, super easy on-screen editing, the ability to, I want amount raised, I want number of donors, or I would like both of those. We can include our offline donations, and then we can kind of choose, I want them to calculate over time, or I just want to start at a specific date. So this is where I'm kind of talking to folks that might have participated in years past. We often recommend that if you are a returner, that when you start to really build out your profile page for the upcoming giving event, that you come here and you set your metrics to start at early giving for 2024. That way, when someone comes and looks at your profile, let's say that it is May 13th, and I'm a donor who's landed on the Animal Humane Society, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they've raised $706,000 already today. Like, what does my donation matter? They're already doing so well. Probably a little bit better to have this be set back to 0. And so it's truly showing your metrics of what you have raised for the 2024 campaign. If you are a brand new nonprofit to the giving event and haven't done any kind of other fundraising on Mighty Cause, you will automatically have 0 just because you don't have any donation activity. But that's really my big recommendation to those of you who are returning, that you probably want to clear this out. Also in this section, a good thing to note is the ability, if you want to, be able to highlight a dollar goal. If you do highlight a dollar goal, has the ability here, we can see it will dynamically update itself throughout the giving event to show completeness. And the good thing to note too is that if you set we can see here $1 million goal might be a bit lofty for a 24-hour campaign. You would be able to go in live and edit that goal and put it down to something more realistic, or in the really great case scenario where you have surpassed your goal, you'd be able to come in here and update your goal to be a little bit longer or bigger, for the giving event. So scrolling down here on your page, this next section here is talking about really being able to tell your story for your organization. So this is where you will add information about your organization, being sure to highlight your specific fundraising objectives for this year's Great Give Day. And again, remember, there is a really strong chance that new potential donors could be viewing your page as a result of the advertising other nonprofits are doing. So this is a chance to speak to both your existing donors and a new audience. We have hosted several giving events across the country, and sometimes nonprofits will register themselves. They won't put a lot of effort into their profile page. They don't really put any language on it, and they just hope that donations come to them. If I am a brand new donor and I just recently moved into the area and I land on your page and there's not anything telling me who you are or what you're fundraising for, I'm probably not going to give to you. So that's why I note that you might, your regular supporters will be receiving communication from you, driving them to your page, but just note that you might also have some new eyes. So you want to make sure that your story is really telling who you are as an organization and what these funds are going towards. And then I think important to note, what you can see here is you have the ability to upload images, you have the ability to upload videos if you'd like to. This whole customizable kind of bar here allows you to edit the content that lives here in your story section. So, we have a video, we have a larger text that's blue, we can bold, we can add additional images and a logo if we want to. So really kind of utilizing this on-screen edit bar to be able to do that. And then the other thing I wanted to note here is the ability to set up what we would call custom tabs. So by default, if you are setting up a brand new profile page, you're going to have this About tab, and then you'll have one that's a little bit grayed out that just doesn't have anything there. So if I was viewing your page as a regular user, I wouldn't see a tab. You only see it if you're kind of in this edit mode. For those of you who have a use case for wanting to put more information on your profile page, you can utilize these custom tabs. So, we're looking at your About tab, really talking about your organization and what your fundraising objectives are for the giving event. If you have additional info that you're like, it doesn't need to be the first thing that they read, but I would like it to be available if they decide that they want to learn more about my organization, then utilizing a custom tab might be the way to do that. So here in this demo, we can see the About really talks about who the org is, has some engaging images, prompting them to give the gift of a second chance, right? But if I, as the donor, wanted to read a little bit more about their staff, and because this is demo, it doesn't have anything built out, but you could have some information here about your staff. If you have, let's say, in-person events or things that are happening around the giving event, perhaps having a tab named events and then having more info about what's happening would be a really great way to use that as well. So I do want to note the additional tab option is totally optional. If you don't have a use for it, don't feel like you have to. Again, we're talking as we do in many places in life, we want quality over quantity. So really only providing things on your page that are necessary to donors and will help them learn more about you and, really develop that relationship with your organization. And then I think the last thing here, you can, I think, add up to 3 custom tabs if that's something that you want to be able to utilize. So scrolling down a bit on the page, I also wanted to draw attention to this feature here that we have that's called the Media Gallery. So you can utilize this on your profile page if you want to. If desired, you can use this section to add additional images pertaining to your organization. So we can see here on this demo page that this organization decided to put a lot of these images up here in like their about text. If you have quite a few images that you feel like help portray the story of your organization, you want to display them in a different way, you can always do that via the media gallery. So again, the ability here to be able to upload the images from my device or link from somewhere else, and then be able to really display this media gallery. So we can see this cute little kitten has popped up. Likewise, I want to draw attention to the fact that we do have the ability to really be able to link your Instagram or Facebook if you would like. This means that if you were to link your Instagram or Facebook, it would automatically pull in social media activity from either Instagram or Facebook. It's a really great opportunity, again, to be able to highlight additional information about your org, to be able to show, because obviously on your Facebook and Instagram, you might be posting about things that are happening year round. So it kind of gives a different level of interaction. And it's, again, a really easy way for the donor to be able to click on it, find your Instagram, and be able to follow you. So again, totally optional if you want to keep your page more buttoned up and just focus on who your organization is, and make it as quick as possible. You don't need to utilize any of this optional content. But if you are looking to really kind of jazz up your page and maybe shake things up from last year, this might be one of those areas that you want to try. And then these other features that we see here, some of them are just going to pull into your organization automatically on your organization page, which is why I'm not really touching on those right now. I just kind of wanted to talk about the areas that you have more kind of customizable control over. So I think I want to get a little bit away from customizing our profile page and move into how do I navigate my profile dashboard? What are the tools that are available to me? And what do I need to know really in order to be successful? So the first thing that we're going to switch over to is actually, let me think what was on my list. We've done that, reports. Maybe let's come over here and look at fundraising tools. So if we click on fundraising tools and then campaigns, this is where you will be able to see, as the admin for your organization, any peer-to-peer fundraisers that have been signed up and set up to support your giving event. It also will show if there's any fundraisers, obviously, that you all have set up. So this is going to be a full list of the fundraising pages that are signed up and attached to your profile and kind of promoting your organization. So you will see folks that have, here's the admin. So this person is signed up on their own, versus when you see the owner is you, that means that that's a campaign page that you have created. So Again, this lists all the campaigns attached to your page, and then you have the ability here, if you wanted to, you could create a new campaign. So that'll take you to the screen to be able to set that up. So really, we're thinking about what's the use case for setting up a campaign. I could go into a lot of detail about that, but I think that we'll just keep it very broad. If your organization, rather than just, fundraising specifically for your organization at large, if you had, certain initiatives that you wanted donors to be able to allocate funds towards, perhaps creating some fundraising campaigns that were more specific to, if we're thinking about the Animal Humane Society, maybe I have a dog food drive. So you're donating specifically towards us being able to purchase more dog food or something like that. So just kind of an example. I know that there's a wide variety of folks on here, so I don't want to get too into the weeds because it could be used in a lot of ways. But if you find yourself curious about it and wanting to know how it could better serve your organization to utilize fundraising campaigns, we definitely have information about that on the Nonprofit Toolkit. And you can reach out to our team via email at support@mightycause.com, and we'd be able to kind of listen to what your end goal is and then talk you through what feature would get you closest to be able to do that. And then the next thing that I wanted to skip down here that I think is kind of helpful is your reports tab. So obviously, one big thing that we want to know is who donated to my page, when did they donate, how much did they donate, and being able to pull things that makes it a little bit easier for you to do reconciliation. So here, when I click on this reports tab, and then I can go to donations, I'm able to see my donation report for my organization. So again, this is all test data, so don't worry, I'm not showing you anything I'm not supposed to. But if you are a brand new organization for Great Give Day, when you come here prior to early giving, this obviously will all be blank. If you have participated in previous years, just note that this is automatically going to be time scoped to the last 30 days. So if you want to see something more specific to giving through all time or giving specifically for last year, you can click on this filter and you can select a custom date range. So you could say, I only want to look at donations for the first day of early giving from 2023. So you could scope it back to that. Or you could go ahead and kind of scope for the last 12 months or the last 90 days. So when in doubt, look at your filters and see if you have just like too granularly applied a filter, and maybe that's why something's not showing for you. And then I will note too, you have the ability to filter these by recurring donations, by online donations, offline donations, and then able to see refunded donations as well. You can come through here too and be able to look at donations that came through certain campaigns. So by a fundraiser, a team, an event, or a giving event. So, and if let's say you're on the day of and Joe Smith reaches out to you and says, I'm not sure, my donation went through, but I just want to make sure that I did this correct thing. You can also search by a particular donor if you needed to look up a donor record to see their gift and when they would have donated. So this is going to be a really helpful tool for you all to go, again, reports and then into your donations as well. And then I think the next thing to highlight is checkout. So obviously people can't donate and people won't get on your reports tab unless they've gone through the checkout process. So when we're thinking about things that are helpful for you to customize as the participating organization, one, really focusing on, this organization page and making sure that your front-facing page is engaging and tells their correct mission. And then two, on the back end, we want to make sure that the elements that you have access to as a nonprofit admin that users will interact with are also customized. So under this checkout tab here is our donation form. So this gives you the ability to be able to preview what the donation form looks like for a donor that is giving to your nonprofit. Things that you're going to see some things on here that you can customize and some things that you cannot customize. So again, we're always just going to look for the pencil icon to see what is it that I can change as a nonprofit admin. This first thing here is what we call kind of templated custom donation levels. So the ability to prompt a donor to give a certain amount of money. You as the nonprofit admin have the ability, if you want, and again, optional, to set these levels up. You can suggest a dollar amount, and you could also, if you wanted to, add a description. So again, we're animal themed here. So this is just kind of noting that, you know, $25, for example, would allow us to buy 10 pounds of dog food. $50 allows us to vaccinate 2 rescued dogs. You know, utilizing, and it's not going to make sense for everyone, but if it makes sense for you, sometimes pairing this description with the donation amount, again, kind of plays into the psychology of why people donate and the feeling that they get when they know that they're supporting and where their money is going. So if I'm here on this page and originally I was only going to give, you know, $20, you know, if I'm like, oh, 10 pounds of dog food, yeah, I'll give $5 extra to be able to support something like that. So you never know if you can, you know, maybe be able to bump up a donor's planned gift amount just by prompting them to give slightly higher. And then a common question we get that I want to draw attention to, even if you decide to utilize these templated kind of suggested donation amounts, the donor will always be able to give the amount that they want to. So if I was the donor going through this donation flow and I was like, I came here to give $10, I'm giving $10. It doesn't matter what's on here. I can simply just come here and I'd be able to type in $10. So you don't need to worry that donors will only be able to give what you're allowing them to. They'll always be able to kind of override these and select their own donation amount. So that's the really big thing that I wanted to draw attention to here. And then the one other that I wanted to show was if you wanted to, actually, no, that's all that I want to talk about just for today. Sorry. And then the other kind of section of the checkout process is the thank you page. So once a donor goes through the donation flow, so we've gone through this donation form, I've selected your organization, I've decided how much I want to give, I put in all of my donation information, and my donation is successful. They will land on what we call the thank you page. And so here is kind of your first touch point with the donor, being able to, you know, steward that relationship and the opportunity to get that first thank you message in front of them. So you as the organization admin have the ability to control what language shows on the thank you page once a donor makes a successful donation to your organization. So we do recommend that even if your message is brief, that you include something here, because again, it's a really just nice kind of, again, it's not exactly personable because it's not going to be unique to every donor that gives, but it is a really great opportunity to get that thank you message in front of them right away. So as we see here, just some generic messaging about, we can't thank you enough. Here's what you're doing. Here's what you're able to help us to do. And again, if you have an engaging video, if you want to put together a specific thank you video, or you just have a video that shows more about your organization, anything that you add here would be beneficial to really be able to thank that donor. And then there also is, I wanted to flag this, there's a button that will show on the bottom of this page that says learn more, which you can change, but you have the ability to decide, you know, do you want to use a default button, which will just take the donor back to your organization page for a Great Give Day, or do you want to have a custom button that would take them somewhere else? So in this demo example, we can see that, you know, donor goes through the donation flow, they make a gift to the Animal Humane Society, they reach the thank you page, and then there's a button that says learn more. When I click on it, it actually takes me to the Animal Humane Society's like year-round page. So if this sounds like something that you want to utilize, just know that you'll just scroll down a little bit on this page and you'd be able to customize that button text and also where that button travels to. And then kind of the last thing when it comes to the donor kind of checkout process is the ability for you as the organization admin to be able to control some of the language that shows on the receipt that the donor receives. So over here on the left-hand side is where you can put in your custom messaging. And then on the right-hand side, a really helpful kind of receipt preview is showing for you to see what that would look like. What I think is super helpful, because I work in this business, and a lot of times I'm making edits and I am not always sure, like, did I do this thing correctly? Is it formatted right? What's it really going to look like once it gets sent out? Up here in the right-hand corner, you can see you have the ability to send a test receipt to yourself too, if you want to be able to look at what that would look like. Similar to my recommendation when it comes to editing the thank you page, even if you don't have a lot of lengthy content to put here, really what we're thinking about is the donor went out of their way to support your organization, and these 2 touch points are your first opportunities to really start stewarding that relationship with the donor. So even if we don't have a lot of content, make sure that what you have there is meaningful, and it can be really simple, and it can just thank them, because again, these are automatically generated from the platform once the donor gives, so they'll already start with a thank you. If your organization wants to go above and beyond and follow up, in a couple weeks with a handwritten note, that's fantastic. But putting in information here at least ensures that they have one really quick outreach from your org saying thank you for giving. Then I think kind of the last thing that I wanted to flag here on the organization dashboard is our settings tab. If we come into general settings and scroll down, this area, which I think is really neat and utilized by a lot of folks, your social sharing, you have the ability. So if someone uses, so if we're looking at your profile page, and they come here and they click, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to see it because I have editing on. Okay, so we're going to play pretend. There is, right here, share this organization. So if a user decides to share your organization page, and as you probably have seen, if you share really any page from the internet and send it into, Instagram, or if you have Slack, you put it in Slack or an email, a lot of times like a preview image will pop up, right? So you as the organization admin have the ability to control what that preview image looks like, as well as what that preview text is that shows. So again, that's back down here in settings and in general settings. If I scroll down this social sharing section, so you can control what that social sharing card image is. So that's that preview image that shows once you send a link. You can control what the card title is and then what the description is as well. So I think that's just super helpful. I've heard that there are sometimes nonprofits who will change this, not so much the image, but sometimes the card title and card description as, throughout the campaign. So if you're registered really early and you know that there's a possibility that users could be on your page, maybe right now your card description says, make sure to come back and support on, starting on May 13th and, real giving event on May 15th. And then sometimes nonprofits will update that to be language that's specific to the giving event. Again, this is just me sharing with you some things that I've heard. There's no reason that you need to kind of add more things to your plate if you don't have capacity to do so. I would say at minimum, just making sure that you go in here and that you select an image and put some language. Totally fine if it's one language that lives forever. But if you do want to get, again, maybe you've been doing this for a couple years and you're looking for ways to kind of shake things up this year, potentially, utilizing some different language throughout the campaign here is also helpful. And then last but not least, what I wanted to touch on is here in this admins area. So we want to make sure that only the people that should have access to your profile page do. So we obviously know that there's a lot of turnover in nonprofits, and that even happens on my level when I'm working with giving event hosts. Just because they're the team of the community foundation one year doesn't mean it's going to be the same group of people the next year. So we always recommend that and I'm saying it last, but we always recommend that people do it first. Once you get back into the swing of things, you have yourself registered and you have access to your profile page for 2024, come down here to this admin section and make sure that the correct people have access to your page. If they're no longer at your organization, or they are at your organization, but they've moved to a different team, you can come over here and you'd be able to remove them. Again, this just ensures, one, that only people that have access should. It keeps your donor information buttoned up and only available to people that really should be able to look at it or be able to manipulate your page. So I don't think we ended up having a lot of questions that came in over here. I'm going to hop back over. I think this was a pretty decent overview, kind of talking about how to edit your page and then some of the tools available to you here in your navigation bar. If we come back over to our presentation, I believe where it's going to land us at is really highlighting and talking about the resources and support that are available to you as a participating nonprofit. So the first, and we highlighted this a little bit earlier at the beginning of the webinar, is, we can see the nonprofit toolkit that's available. A lot of really great resources here for you. So first of all, it in itself is a great resource because it kind of talks you through, some steps for fundraising success, highlights some resources, but it also is kind of a one-stop shop for linking you out to other helpful places related to Great Give Day. So, here under important dates, if I click, it's taking me to the calendar page. If I'm coming here to Platform Basics, I can see things from how do I access my nonprofit account and dashboard? How do I remove organization admins? How do I customize my link? Really a lot of really great resources. And then I did mention this earlier, but the Community Foundation team has come through and they have linked out to some helpful resources. So, and again, there's a couple updates to be made on some of these, but we have, a social media toolkit that allows you to not have to reinvent the wheel, but just utilize some templates that are already put together for you. If I click here in logos and graphics, I have access to be able to download great Give Day logos that I can put on my social media. I can start adding them to my signature and my email. So the goal of everything that's built into this page is knowing that, one, you as an administrator and employee of a nonprofit, you have a lot on your plate. And we, the technology platform and Community Foundation, want to be able to be here to make this as easy as possible for you to be able to participate in the giving event and have success. So don't feel like, if you're like, oh, I really want to do this thing. And if you're like me, you're like, oh, I'll start from scratch and I'll just build it and I'll go down this rabbit hole and it'll take forever. Maybe pause that part of your brain and come over here, Nonprofit Toolkit, and see if we've already created a resource that walks you through it, or if there are already, kind of templates to be able to use for language. So if you struggle with, we have an Instagram, but I don't really know what to post. We haven't had a lot of, engagement with it. Maybe I scroll down here till we have the spread the word section and I look at, tips and tricks for using social media to promote your online fundraiser. That really seems to hit the nail on the head, right? With what I was just thinking about. So again, really driving point home, Nonprofit Toolkit, a great place for you to be able to utilize. The second thing that I wanted to say is a little bit of a plug for March 20th at 12 p.m. We're going to do our next webinar to talk about strategy. So obviously today's focus was really, if you are a brand new organization or perhaps a brand new admin to a returning organization, we walked through how to register, what are the basics of the giving event, how do I utilize my profile. Our next webinar is really going to be about strategy. So how do I take advantage of some of these resources to be able to really amplify my success for the giving event? So you can think of today's webinar as really 1.0, and then the next one will be our 2.0. And then next is a plug for, and we've talked about this a bit, if you have questions, our team is here and happy to help you. So first, you can reach us by email at support@mightycause.com. We do also offer phone support for those of you who would prefer to kind of chat through it live with someone. I will note we are in Eastern time, so we're available 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern. And then here is our phone number. Again, I'll download these slides. They'll be on the training page, so you'll be able to grab that. And then last but certainly not least, we do have a full support library of articles. If you are more of a person that prefers to search for something, find a resource and read through it before you're willing to ask out loud a question, you can utilize that. So support.mightycause.com, and you'll be able to really just like type in a keyword and a bunch of support articles will pop up that might potentially answer that question for you. So again, we kind of have this well-rounded place where you can get resources, you can reach out to us. The goal is that you don't go through this process alone, and that if you do have questions, you're not sitting by yourself kind of struggling and frustrated. You have us available to you to be able to help. And so I think really the next thing is happy fundraising. I know that we're not fundraising just yet. We're really just focusing on registration, but that's really all that I had for today. I think we got through a big chunk of content. Hopefully it was helpful to those of you who are here. We do have a couple more minutes that I can stay on. So if anybody has any questions, I want to make sure that, while Peter and I are here, feel free to ask those because you have two great resources available to you. But if you don't have any questions, feel free to hop off. We really appreciate you being here and joining the webinar today. Reiterating the fact that I will download this recording, we'll have it up on the trainings page by end of day Monday, but the slides themselves that we went over, I'll probably have them up in the next 15 to 20 minutes on the page. So again, and I can go ahead and just show my face and stop sharing my screen. But if anybody has any questions, I am still here. Feel free to answer them or ask them. But if you're all set, thanks for joining, and you can sign off if you would like to.
Thanks, Natalie. Great job. We appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to the training on the 20th and more to come on the website.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I hope I don't see anything coming in, so that must mean that we answered all the questions during the training, which is always the goal. But of course, if anything comes up later, again, email support@mightycause.com. Our team is here to help you. And if not, then I will see you again on the 20th. Bye, everyone.
See you. Have a great weekend.